A very good morning to one and all. So today I'll be presenting on the clinical pathological features and management of advanced iron orbital plasmacytoma. I have no financial interest to disclose. Expect the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. Orbit being a Pandora's box, I'm sure all of you agree with the above statement. Plasmacytomas constitute 5 to 10% of all plasma cell neoplasms and only 1% of the orbital tumors. Orbital plasmacytoma is an uncommon presentation of multiple myeloma. In more than half of the cases, it is only discovered after the diagnosis of multiple myeloma. We aim to study the clinical pathological features and management of advanced iron orbital plasmacytoma. This was a retrospective observation and intervention case series in 6 patients from 2013 to 2019. I'm going to present 2 cases in detail. This is a 20-year-old male presented with a painful, gradually progressive swelling of the right lower eyelid since 30 days. On examination, there was 3 mm of hypoglobus with temporal fossa fullness and ecchymosis. And on palpation, there was a mildly tender mass in the inferior temporal orbit. There is a chemosis of the tarsal conjunctiva seen on slit lamp. On CT scan, there is a well-defined heterodense mass centered in the zygoma with orbital and temporal fossa extension with specks of calcification with bony erosion. Coming to my second case, this is a 70-year-old elderly male who presented to us with a complaint of swelling in the left upper eyelid since 3 months, which was painless and gradually progressive. On examination, the anterior segment was normal. There was an hypoglobus of 2 millimeters, proptosis of 5 millimeters. The extraocular movements were limited in all the cases except inferiorly, and the patient had diplopia in all the cases. We went ahead with MRI, which showed well-defined soft tissue mass in superolateral aspect of the left orbit, which was isointense on T1 and T2, causing destruction of the adjoining left frontal lobe in the roof of left orbit with intracranial extension in the left frontal lobe. The CT scan confirmed the destruction of the roof and the lateral walls, causing compression of the superior surface of the left lobe and abutting the superior rectus. So these are the rest of our cases presenting similarly with the swelling of the lower eyelid, proptosis, and the CT scan showing the orbital mass with destruction of the orbital bones. So this is a brief summary of all our cases, and the mean age of presentation was 55 years, and male to female ratio was 2:1, and most commonly it was unilateral presentation. And the patients presented with swelling of the lower lid, proptosis, and diplopia, and the mean duration of symptoms was 27 days. Multi-level incision biopsy was done in all the patients, and the light microscopy shows diffusely distributed plasma cells and plasmablasts. Immunohistochemistry was positive for CD138 in all these cases. The diffusely seen kappa chain was seen in a few cases associated with multiple myeloma. Once we have the diagnosis, systemic evaluation is very important to rule out multiple myeloma, including bone marrow biopsy and PET-CT scan. 3 of our patients had associated multiple myeloma. Coming to the management options, radical radiotherapy has an excellent local disease control. In this particular study, the relapse rate with radiotherapy alone were comparatively less compared to surgery or chemotherapy. There are very limited literature with few case reports on systemic chemotherapy in these patients. Autologous stem cell transplantation was reserved for many multiple or recurrent lesions. External beam radiotherapy was given in 4 of our patients to the orbit and the cranium accordingly. Systemic chemotherapy and bone marrow transplant was given in 1 patient. 1 patient denied further in evaluation and treatment. Coming to the treatment response, 1 patient showed excellent response, and 1 patient had a good response, and 2 patients had partial, and 1 patient succumbed to the disease with the postponement of treatment with a delay of 4 weeks, and he succumbed to multi-organ failure. With a mean follow-up of 3.4 years, 5 of our patients are doing well with good visual activity. So International Myeloma Working Group has designed a criteria for monoclonal gammopathies, multiple myeloma, and related disorders in 2003. Plasmacytoma can broadly be classified as systemic disease and localized disease. The localized disease can further be classified into solitary plasmacytoma of the bone, where there is a single bone lesion, solitary extramedullary plasmacytoma, where there is single soft tissue lesion, and multiple solitary plasmacytoma, where there are multiple sites of disease in the bone or soft tissue or both. There are a few factors responsible for rapid conversion of plasmacytoma to multiple myeloma, and it is very important to look and evaluate for all of these conditions. To conclude, although plasmacytoma of orbit is rare, ophthalmologists should be familiar with it. It is important to consider the diagnosis of plasmacytoma in a patient with bony orbital mass irrespective of the age group. Systemic workup for multiple myeloma is very essential to guide the treatment and to prognosticate the disease. Detailed histopathological evaluation with immunohistochemistry is important. The role of imaging should be focused on early detection of additional recurrent lesions which influence the clinical management, and aggressive and early initiation of multimodal treatment is warranted. These are my references. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Harita, for finishing in time.
Thank you, sir.
I'll request other people to ask the questions.
Yeah. Doctor, I have one question to ask. This is a very nice study actually. It's not so common disease. So, were you able to establish few of the clinching clinico-radiological feature of plasmacytoma? Diagnostic clinico-radiological feature?
Yes, sir. Clinically, first, it is mostly a tripartite lesion. Although we did not see any restriction to the limitation to the age group, because youngest in our case series is 20 years. So, irrespective of the age group, once we have a triradiate, palpable lesion with the bony destruction on palpation, and radiologically also, if we have a triradiate lesion, then plasmacytoma is one of the important differential diagnoses we have to keep in mind. And in younger patients, although infection and inflammation have to be ruled out, but again in elderly patients, we need to keep in mind adenocarcinoma of the lacrimal gland or any other lymphomas, and the metastasis to the orbit are important differentials along with this plasmacytoma in triradiate lesions.
It's a very good question by Dr. Sharma, because every patient we have to wait for the confirmation from biopsy. Without that, if you have mentioned that yes, if there is some radiological features, there is any clinically relevant question by Dr. Sharma. Any other question, Ruchi, Shubha?
Yeah, 5 years is actually usually when you see the survival rates, it's usually 5 years at least the minimum follow-up. So yes, isn't it a little too premature to predict what was the survival rate with, I think 3.4 years you said?
Follow-up at 3.4 years, ma'am. But again, till now the patients were doing well. We have been following them every 6 monthly till annual 6 monthly for 3 years till now, and then we will follow the patients annually. And yeah, so if after at least 2 years of another follow-up, we can generalize this.
So you're getting a PET scan then? How do you what investigations do you?
CT scan we are getting it annually, ma'am, and in between clinically we are monitoring the patient, and there if we have any suspicion clinically, then we will go ahead with the PET CT scan at that moment. Otherwise, if everything clinically is fine, then we'll go ahead for annual PET CT scans.
I think we can go to the next talk.
Yes, with the next.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.